Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be concluding Small Scale Story, and I couldn't be more excited to help bring this story to its conclusion. Oh my goodness, it has been an adventure, that's for sure. So we have, here we are with Small Scale. She is exploring around some ancient ruin looking site. She smells something. It turns out there is another Campto in the area. The first Campto that she has seen. She decides to give chase, for she does not want to be by herself anymore. Camptos come off as also some playful-like creatures as well, so they'll chase each other back and forth just as a way for them to get to know each other. It turns out this is a male Campto. And if he stays still long enough, you can actually see that he has a few battle scars. Looks like they found a nice field with some flowers where our female Campto is attempting to bring a gift. Camptos love giving gifts to each other as a way to show their affection. Looks like he's not taking the gift this time. We'll see. For she is being pretty persistent. Looks like they found a nice little pond here in the Highlands where they're going to take this opportunity to get a drink. Alright, the male Campto's running off somewhere, but Small Scale doesn't seem too concerned with his absence. All that running around has definitely been exhausting, so she's needing to replenish her water. The male Campto is staying in the area. He seems to be foraging for something over in the woods. She decides to go over and investigate. Oh, there he is. Looks like he's got something in his mouth. She decides to follow. Oh, it looks to be some sort of tasty fruit. He is offering her a gift. And she accepts. These two will continue on and eventually become a bonded pair, which means here pretty soon they'll have to be looking for a potential nesting site. Like they decide to go ahead and fill up on a drink of water before beginning their quest. It's very important to find a good, safe, secure nesting site for future hatchlings, for there's lots of dangers in the world out here. It looks like their search has taken them to a pretty dense forest. They have to make sure there's lots of food and shelter, and close by to a water source. Alright, it's dark now, but the Camptos are still in search of a nesting spot. Even though it's dark, they still have to be wary of predators roaming the area. And so their search continues. They look high and low. Camptos have to be very careful while traversing the cliffs. One wrong step and they could break a bone. Thankfully, their nimble little feet help them when it comes to gripping into the rock or dirt and jumping from place to place. Well, their search is about to come to an end, and it is time for the eggs to be delivered. A few weeks have passed, and here we see Smallscale getting a drink from a pond. If you listen closely, you can hear the distant pitter-patter and soft grunts of other dinosaurs in the area. This is Smallscale's family. Her and her mate have had 3 offspring. You can hear the tiny squeaks of the hatchlings calling out for Mom and Dad. Camptos are very affectionate parents, and they definitely care for their young. They'll stay close by their sides in the coming weeks to give them their best chance for survival. The young will not stray far from Mom or Dad. It is important that they stick together. It is time to head off. The parents sound off a few squeaks to indicate for their children to follow them. A storm has come in, and the Camptos must find shelter. It's not good for their young to remain out in such harsh weather. They need to find shelter quickly. The young pick at things in the bushes, still getting used to everything in this new world. The good thing about the rain is it helps mask the sound of their tiny little footprints that make a bunch of noise as they go from bush to bush. Finally, the rain has subsided and the family can get on with normal everyday activities. The young are foraging and spending this time to learn how to swim in the local pond. Camptos also enjoy rolling around in the shallow parts of the pond and playing in the mud puddles. The parents are also ever watchful, for danger could be anywhere in this world, and their babies would make a quick snack for a hungry predator. But as long as they stay together and remain vigilant, the family should be fine. The family is off, probably in search of their next meal. Camptos are nomadic, so they don't tend to stay in one place for too terribly long. Mom makes sure all the hatchlings make it and keep up with her and her dad, and make brief pit stops on the way for food and water. Mom is able to gather some food while the hatchlings play on a rock nearby. Dad goes and scouts the area for safety. With a few Campto cries, the family knows it's time to be off. Mom lingers behind to make sure all of her hatchlings make it safely up the hill. Of course, they decide to stop and play in the stream. She goes and gets them, telling them that it's time to go. Unfortunately, the rain does seem to be coming down again, so the family is off in search of some shelter and a place to hide while they wait it out. The rain can make the rocks become slippery, so the mother makes sure all her children make it up and over. The family decides to rest here in a local quarry and get some much needed rest. Their children are exhausted from all the traveling today. The parents snuggle in close to help keep their children warm and safe. Thankfully, the rain is not coming down as hard, and the parents are able to give shelter to their children using their bodies. The rain has stopped and the Camptos are off again. Small Scale's children are growing up very quickly. They have arrived in another field full of flowers. Their parents have brought them to this special place because this is where they first met. And Small Scale even presents a flower to Dad. He still must have a thing about flowers because he still did not pick that one up. Looks like Dad is bringing Mom a gift, same as he did before. Everything seems nice and peaceful here, but it's not. There's a predator lurking across the water. Smallscale's mate instantly senses this and chases off the intrusion. It's up to her to get her children to safety. She lets out a series of cries and squeaks, indicating for them to follow her. The children are still kind of not sure knowing what to do, but she's very persistent. Finally, they get all the children over. Dad comes and helps with this as well. They cannot linger here for too much longer. While the threat may have appeared to move on in the distance, they still need to make as much space between them as possible. They quickly run around to the side of a large rock. It helps hide them from any prying eyes. This could also make a good escape route if needed. They return to the fields. But the danger has not passed yet. Her mate gives off some shrill warning cries, and there is another predator in the fields. It's time to get the children into a bush quickly, or else they'll be picked off one by one. This time they listen to their mother. Except for one who is still seem a little confused. The parents quickly try to intervene, trying to get the predator to focus more on them than their offspring. The mother tries to get her child into the bush, but the offspring is panicking. Finally, she makes it. They are a little separated, but Mom goes and checks on the other two first. Instincts kick in, and the children know it's time to be quiet. Dad continues to patrol and make sure no other predators are in the area. Smallscale notices that one of her offspring is not with the group. This makes her a little bit uneasy. She likes it when all three of them are together and safe. But they have to choose this timing perfectly. Dad goes out again to see if the coast is clear. Smallscale takes this chance and creeps closer to her third offspring, signaling that it's okay to come to their bush. There is no sign of their dad. Smallscale picks up on a few distant squeaks. He is signaling for her to go and take their children far away from this place. She quickly runs back to the rock that they were at before and double checks their surroundings. That's too steep for her hatchlings to hop off. One of them could be gravely injured. She checks to see that the coast is clear. and then signals for her kids to follow, not knowing what the fate of their father is. They continue to push further and further into the forest. If needed, Small Scale may have to continue raising their children on her own. They continue to press on, further and further from the fields. She double checks to make sure all of her children are following and stay close together. Her children tend to get underfoot, a little confused as to what's happening and wondering where their father is. She calls for them to come and to stay close together. But there's another call behind the offspring. Their dad is alive, and he is catching back up to his family. He scouts ahead. One of the children falls in the rivet below, and so she has to go make sure that she gets out okay. It's getting darker, but the family is alive and together, and they greet each other. A sight for sore eyes. But they still cannot linger here. It is time to look for a place to rest, for it has been a very busy day for the Campto family. She calls for her offspring to follow, and they continue to press upwards over the hills. The next morning, they're able to explore a lush and beautiful field. The family's enjoying their time together, rooting through flowers and collecting various things. A slight fog has also set in over the forest, which provides cover for the Camptos. Small Scale's offspring have grown quite a bit. You can see their spots coming in and their patterns starting to develop. They're also becoming more grown up on their own and think they know everything, but they still rely on mom and dad. After a quick breakfast, Small Scale is back chasing her children. time to check out the woods today. Her young loves the taste of acorns, and they are more plentiful in this area. But still, Camptos have to be careful in the woods, for other things also lurk in here. A shrieking roar comes out of the forest, and the Camptos signal each other to move on. The offspring are quick to react. They know exactly what's to do. And what needs to be done is run. They go back down the hill into the fields in search of a bush. It saved them last time. Their dad continues to do perimeter checks, while Small Scale gets her kids into safety. The predator arrives, but seems more occupied with the chunk of dead dinosaur left behind in another fight. This still makes the Camptos uneasy, and Small Scale signals for them to go, but the children continue to linger in the bush. They're not wanting to follow her. One even peeks out to see what all the commotion is about. This is still a very dangerous time. She frantically calls for her children to listen to her. They are unaware that the predator has finished eating and is circling around. It's here. Quickly, Small Scale throws herself in between the predator and her children. She would gladly lay down her own life for her kids. Thankfully, there's a Kento in the area. The Camptos are going to use this as their advantage. The Kento tends to scare off all with its sharp spikes, and the predator ends up fleeing off into the forest. They decide to follow the Kento for a bit, but keeping their distance as well. But the kids are curious. They have never seen a dinosaur like this before. Thankfully, this Kento has a mild temper and puts up with the children's yodeling and chatter. All hatchlings are safe. They regroup and try to figure out where to go next. A few more weeks have passed, and the young Camptos are almost grown. The family takes this time to snuggle up together one more time before their children go off their separate ways. And that is the story of Small Scale. I hope you all enjoyed. It was a lot of fun to put together, I really enjoy working with the people on the Walking with Dinosaurs server. Everybody did a phenomenal job with this story. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. And I wish you all a wonderful day, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.